A post-Brexit trade deal between Boris Johnson and Donald Trump is hanging in the balance, after an expert warned an agreement will not be reached before the upcoming presidential election. Talks between the UK and US negotiating teams slowed this month and look set to be put on the back burner, as Mr. Trump faces an uphill battle to stay in the White House on November 3. Trade discussions between International Trade Secretary Liz Truss, and her U.S. counterpart Robert Lighthizer, are understood to have hit a roadblock after the U.S. refused to back down on imposing tariffs on British goods. Inderjeet Parmar, head of international politics at City University London, said the U.S. had now abandoned any possibility of an agreement before the election unless the UK accepted its terms. Professor Parmar added the coronavirus pandemic has shortened the timetable for talks and now a trade deal for Britain has fallen down the list of priorities. Mr. Trump currently trails his Democrat rival Joe Biden in many opinion polls with just over 2 months to go until Election Day. Professor Parmar told Express.co.uk, "In practice, I think they have abandoned any idea of a trade agreement before November unless Britain agrees to all those changes. Now I don't think that Liz Truss and the others who are in charge are in any kind of mood for that. So the fact that Trump is trailing in the polls, I think the main reason for no agreement is because of the pandemic really, that has really slowed everything down. So the fact he is trailing in the polls, you could argue that it would give Britain more leverage. But I think everything is for the election for Trump and I am not sure a trade agreement is the top priority." Ms. Truss met her U.S. counterpart for a third round of talks in Washington earlier this month. Ms. Truss said the demands for U.S. tariffs on British products were unacceptable and unfair. The International Trade Secretary had hoped to convince Mr. Lighthizer to go further, after the U.S. initially dropped tariffs on just £5.75 billion worth of British goods. Following the discussions, Ms. Truss said, "The government is stepping up talks with the U.S. to try and break the impasse, and will be entering into further discussions with my opposite number U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer in the coming weeks."